And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another week of world-class thoroughbred action. Welcome to a Thursday afternoon from Gulfstream Park. Track announcer Pete Aiello, joined as always by ace handicapper extraordinaire Ron Nicoletti. Ron gets to put on his expert cap again tomorrow afternoon. It's Friday, so that means beat the expert here tomorrow.
Yep, you're going to try and beat me today, and you get to send in your selections. And if you do beat me, you got a chance to win one of those sharp polo shirts that say "Beat the Expert" right on the sleeve, Pete.
Yeah, well, if the fans beat you today, they don't get that shirt. If they beat you tomorrow, they have a chance at that shirt. But nevertheless, it's very fun when we try to beat you.
Yeah, and it's a great thing. And of course, you get the bragging rights. You can come over if you visit us at Gulfstream Park and show me your shirt, and I'll know you're whooping.
Well, I actually have a request. If you are here on track with us and you do win the Beat the Expert contest, please try to do it before this show or after this show so I can watch it. It'll be very, very entertaining stuff to see somebody go pick on you because you say I'm the only one who ever does.
Yeah, well, you're one of the top 10, put it that way. You're not the only one.
Well, let's delve into the racing action, shall we? 10 races on the program here this afternoon. We'll take you through the 10-race format and give you Ronnie's opinions and a little analysis. But before we do that, let's look at the wagering menu here today. We have rolling super high five opportunity throughout the afternoon. It's a $1 wager. 7 horses or more, you'll have a super high five opportunity.
Yeah, and I'll show you my ticket on the early pick 5 ticket, which will be also in today's first race, Pete. And then we're really getting that carryover in the Rainbow Six getting built up.
Yeah, Rainbow Six carryover now close to $300,000, $280,000 and $7 carried over in the 20-cent Rainbow Six with the 10-race format, because Rainbow Six today begins in race number 5. As always, it's just a 20-cent play.
Yeah, and we end the day with another pick 5 later in the afternoon. The last 5 races on the card, and the beauty of the pick 5, only 50 cents get you involved in the early and late pick 5.
Well, race number 1 on the program as we delve into the racing action on Thursday in South Florida is on the turf at 1 mile. Sunny skies, so a fast main track and a firm turf course here today. 8 horses signed on for the opener. There are no changes in this race. And this race has got a horse that lost to one of the sharpest horses in South Florida, a horse named the outside horse Puppery, lost to Defying Gravity last time.
Yeah, and before we delve into this, let's show you our early pick 5 ticket right quickly, and you'll see I went too deep in here with just the 5 and the 8, one of them being Puppery, the other one being Little Twitch. 3, 2, 4 in race number 4, and 2 in race number 5 for a $48 ticket.
Well, that's a pretty good ticket. I think you might need your 3rd selection in the first race, but that's just my opinion.
Well, let's start it off with number 8, Puppery's dropping to this $10,000 level, returned from a 3-month layoff to encounter some trouble going into the first turn. Pete, I want to show you this horse, what happened to it, and I'm sure you know because you called the race, but I want to go back and show you what happens to this horse going into the turn. It was the 2 horse that day, and really has to check. You'll see it coming up here right now, just really has to check sharply. Got to know where to run, has to pull all the way back. Now, this horse goes up and then challenges for the lead. You know, it makes a really middle move in that race and comes back and then fades to finish 6th behind aforementioned Defying Gravity. So was that enough to cause this horse trouble in the first race?
Yeah, well, it seems to be the theme with our backtracks lately, and not that the horses necessarily would win the races we show you, but I don't think she gets beat 8 lengths if that doesn't happen, as I'm sure the rider had no choice but to move her early. That was her first start for the barn. It was her first start off of freshening. All indications are that she'll be better today than she was last time. And the proverbial cherry on top, rider switch today to Tyler Gaffley.
Yeah, and she was on that 2-race win streak before that layoff and that trouble that we just showed you. The other horse I used on my ticket was the 5 Little Twitch, stretching out to a mile today after making a solid outside bid to finish 3rd. Was beaten less than 2 lengths versus this level of competition, going 7.5. Second start after the claim by Marcial Navarro. Certainly should be okay in this horse. If anybody I thought is going to get the Puppery, it might be the 5 Little Twitch.
Well, the horse that beat Little Twitch on the square last time out is number 4, Key Agent, who completes your ticket. This horse is interesting in the sense that she's an Arkansas bred who's now won 2 out of 3 on turf. What do you do with an Arkansas bred if you have to run on turf? There's no turf at Oaklawn.
Well, certainly that's what woke this horse up. McCon, like as you mentioned, can make it 3 in a row. Parlayed a couple of close-up stalking trips into those victories. Move to the turf has done wonders for this Arkansas bred.
Yeah, she's actually headed in the right direction. She beat a big, bulky field in her last race, so she certainly has a chance to 3-peat in race 1 today. Second race is a maiden claiming event for the 2-year-olds. They race 6 furlongs. We have a field of 7 signed on in here. We have some horses making their second career outings that appear to be the ones to beat. They're Ronnie's top two, the 4 and 1.
Well, let's go with number 4. The Put the Hat Back is dropping a notch in the claiming scale, getting Lasix this afternoon. You want to go back and show you this horse had some early trouble in its last race, and we're going to go back and show you was the number 1 that day, and you will see Put It Back going up there, and really it comes out of the gate and has to steady early here. You see this on the inside, really on the engine there, Pete trying to get the lead, and then has to steady back. Looked like it was making a nice move there, and you'll see it coming up real soon here. This just had to put on the brakes and gets put all the way back in there. And then you're going to go to the top of the stretch here, and you'll see this horse on the inside really doesn't have a comfortable place to run here. Goes to make a move, and you'll see comes over and has to steady again slightly in the stretch here when it comes out, and just thought that maybe this horse would run well, run well with a cleaner trip all the way around.
Adds Lasix, changes riders, and got a lot of experience in that debut run. Put the Hat Back certainly appears a live contender. I like that backtrack. Makes me think this horse is even more alive than it looks on paper.
And the number 1 Archer One, this one, the latter one in this race he's the other one in this race. Steps up to 3/4 of a mile after making a 5-wide bid. He finished third against 25 career debut, going 5.5. I thought he ran okay in that race.
He ran very well. He was finishing up full of run that day. He also makes a rider switch here this afternoon. Martin Ramirez takes over on the 1 horse in race number 2. De Kingfish rounds out your play in this race. De Kingfish was well regarded early, but takes the drop in for a tag to try to get that first win.
Well, he gets a full complement of karma changes today. After that, to spark a winning performance, he goes back. He goes from turf to dirt. He drops to the $35,000 level and races with blinkers added. So it looks like they threw the whole kitchen sink at him today.
Dead air, folks. Sometimes Ronnie leaves me speechless. That's definitely one of those cases. Race number 2 starts the 50-cent early pick 4. With or without the kitchen sink. We'll move now to the 3rd race. It's on the main track at 5.5 furlongs, $6,250 the level. Non-winners the 2, the category in this race. We do have a scratch. Scratch the 7, Let Love Rule. An equipment change for 6, Gold Crescent. Make the blinkers on here this afternoon. A field of 7 with the morning line favorite Dreaming of Eva trying not to blow a lead like she did last time.
Well, I went with the number 6 Gold Crescent, moved to the Ralph Zadie Barn V to claim, stretches out faces winners after using what I thought was her tactical speed to defeat $10,000 maidens at the distance on June 4th. Despite the fact that she drifted out through the stretch, they readied her for this performance. A bullet half-mile drill, albeit in the slop at Gulfstream Park, was only the best time of 7 horses at the distance, but looks like it's coming into the race. Add in the blinkers this afternoon, so we'll see how number 6 Gold Crescent, performs in here.
Well, Gold Crescent and the rail horse number 1, Dreaming of Ava, are the 2 speeds in here. Is one superiorly quicker to the other? I don't think so. Might mean a speed duel on the top end, which could set it up for your 3rd selection, number 4, High Rapid Lady.
Yeah, this one is cutting back a furlong after tracking the pace throughout and coming within a half-length of notch in this condition at the 6.5 furlongs, so can end up sitting at in the catbird seat behind the number 6 and the number 1, as you mentioned in there, and that's Gold Crescent and Dreaming of Ava.
Those appear to be the right 3 horses. It's just a matter of which trip yields the best performance. I personally would play against the 1. I think that she had her opportunity last time out. However, if she were to shake free, if something happens at the start with the 6, she becomes the big-time contender. 4th race on the program is on turf, 1 mile the trip here, $35,000 the claiming level. We have a field of 9 in this race. The waters get quite a bit deeper in this race. Tough race to handicap.
Well, number 4, Andrea's Reward, is plunging into the claiming ranks and wearing blinkers after facing stakes caliber competition in 11 races since breaking a maiden here last August. Milt Wolfson, Eddie Castro named. This is a stakes winner at the distance, but is this the red flag that they're dropping it down, or just trying to get another victory for this horse? Hasn't won in a while.
Well, 35 is not an alarming drop in class for a horse that's lost as many times as she has, like you mentioned. I know one thing that's just surprising to me, having watched her as a 2-year-old, if not enough of her to run in the Breeders' Cup, I thought that was a good idea, because she really was running well. But she's always a horse to me that screams for more ground. She's a big, long, striding horse. So if you're in the market for Andrea's Reward, maybe claim her and then stretch her out to about 2.5 miles over hurdles. I think that's the right move.
That's the right move for Andrea's Reward. Number 1, High Heeled, is hoping for a clean trip after following her 35,000 maiden, scored 2 races back. Had some trouble last time out, finishes third, lacked room at this level and distance. Dave Brady, Miguel Vasquez going to team up. They're going to handle that inside post this afternoon. I don't know if this horse third choice on the morning line.
What do you make of the 2 Vera's Finally? She cut back to 5/8 last time out after running pretty well in 2 of her 3 starts before that. Now she goes back to the 2-turn race here today. Were they trying to sharpen her up, or what was the deal there?
Yeah, I'm thinking that's exactly what they were trying to do, and it's 1 of 2 in the field for trainer Steve Placeris. The other one being She's Dynamite is stretching out to a best distance, too, thus far. 3 starts at that distance, as you mentioned. Couple of wins. She had that 4-wide trip at 5 furlongs, produced a 5th place finish against I think it was 16 condition claimers. MSCL Jaramillo. I think this is the logical horse of those 2.
Sounds like a good plan. You have 4, 1, and 2 in race number 4. We'll take a brief timeout. Up next, the Rainbow 6 in race 5 right after this.
Hey everyone, I'm Acacia Courtney, and I want to tell you about a fun contest that we have going on. It's called Beat the Expert. Every Friday, if you're able to pick more winners than me or my co-host Ron Nicoletti, then you will have the chance to win a free polo shirt that says that you beat the expert. Go to facebook.com/Gulfstream Park to enter and use hashtag Beat the Expert to let us know that you're playing. Bring it on.
And we're back at Gulfstream Park for a preview of the Rainbow 6 sequence on a Thursday afternoon. 10 races on the card today, so the Rainbow 6 begins in race number 5. As mentioned, we have a carryover approaching $300,000 here today. It's a 20-cent investment. Ronnie, if I remember right, we can do a little red boarding here. Didn't you hit this a couple days ago?
I hit it on Sunday, yeah. My $64 ticket came in, paid $785, I believe. It was a little of a chalky situation. I was surprised there were horses alive for singles in the last race, in that race, but was able to get it, and let's see if we can do it again today.
How much was it? It can't be too chalky if you have to use your Social Security card.
Well, $785 for
You'll
60.
take it.
Are you kidding me? Here's my ticket for today. 333, and then you see in race number 8, I got to take a chance to keep the ticket affordable. I went with the number 8, Blame Dixie, and then 3 deep and 3 deep, $48.60 today, and I got to try and get my single home again. That is Blame Dixie in race number 8 this afternoon. When we get to that race, I'll tell you about it. Mine, $48.60. Use that as a guide for your ticket this afternoon.
Well, race number 5 kicks off the sequence. Claimers at the $6,250 level. These horses take turns beating each other, and some of these horses are in good form. Some of them need to round into their best form. A horse that's in great form, you didn't use him on top, but he did make your Rainbow 6 ticket. A horse that's won 2 in a row, number 5, Cheech Thunder.
Yeah, Cheech Thunder and Giannino had a really interesting duel last time out, and we're going to pick it up from the top of the stretch home. Pete, and I want you to take it. You called it here. They're sitting on a winning performance. I think the 9 was. I went with the 9 rather than the 9 today being Giannino, rather than the 5 Cheech Thunder today. Now you see the 6-horse Cheech Thunder and Giannino top of the stretch home, both going for the lead.
At this point, and from the race caller standpoint, I think that Janino's going to rally up the inside, just because I didn't think that the jockey on Cheech Thunder, Jesus Rio, saw him, and then I was wrong. He spotted him, came over to the inside just to let Cheech Thunder know that there was another horse there. So that was a heck of a good race. The better trip went to the horse who lost in Janino.
Yeah, that's why I went with him on there. And they were both far back. You know, they're both sitting on winning performances. Giannino, talking about him, he was 12 lengths off the pace early. You saw the way he closed, and Cheech Thunder did the same thing. Now, those are both closers, at least if you go by their last race. So what about the 3 Madrus, stepping up to the next level, returned from a layup, led every step of the way to defeat 6,250, 2 lifetime claimers at the distance last time out. Did this one go on the lead and look back while these 2, try and carve out a trip behind behind it, or you think this horse can't handle a jump up?
The latter would be. I was going to give you an analogy. I was going to say you wade into the pool versus going over to the side and jumping in the deep end, and that's kind of what Madruz is doing. Horse beat a suspect cast last time out, taking a pretty substantial jump up in class here this afternoon. A horse I wanted to ask you about that maybe will fly under the radar here is number 8, JB Quick. JB Quick takes the drop in class from 12.5 in for 62.5. Had a major alibi when sprinting last time out. Blew the start bad. If you go 2 races back, JB Quick was at this 1 mile trip. Took him coast to coast.
Yeah, 6-1 on the morning line. Yeah, you're right. If you go back 2 starts at 12.5, 2 lifetime claimers there. 6.5 last time out. Broke slowly. Why not one of the horses you might want to add on your ticket, trained by Joe Catanese and ridden today by, as I mentioned, by Vincente Gutierrez. So one of the horses you might want to go a little deeper in your Rainbow Six ticket.
Morning line favorite is 2, Primetime Tommy. He's going to have to do a lot better than his last 2. He is taking a drop in class.
Yeah, I mean, I put an X right through him. You see on my paper right there when I was doing the thing, and he comes out to be the morning line favorite. Are you in agreement with my X, or do you think I made a mistake there?
Hey, Ronnie, watch this. X.
Oh, my God. Double X.
Yeah, well, what's that show? We needed America's Got Talent. You just need the sound effects. Let's look to race number 6 now. It starts the late pick 5. Maiden claimers of the $30,000 variety. This is not an easy race. A field of 9 in this race. You have to figure out who's in the right part of their form cycle. And trip-wise, it's not easy because horses really have had opportunities and have not won.
Well, I have a darn if you do, darn if you don't situation here with the number 2. Here comes the boom. Solid second on the turf at this level back on June 10th. Going back to the grass today after displaying tactical speed and hitting the board. And 1 of 2 races on the main track. But I want to go back and show you a stat of Kathleen O'Connell on her going from dirt to turf with maiden claimers. She's 13 for 96, only 14%. 32% of the time in the money. 203, the ROI is okay, but it's not one of her moves is the point I meant. Darn if I do, darn if I don't. I think this horse ran well enough back on June 10th to be on top of my ticket, but it's coming with a little trepidation.
Well, I thought you meant darned if you do, darned if you don't from a tactical standpoint, because this horse does have tactical speed, but if you try to send him, I don't think that you're fast enough to compete with some of the other speed in here. If you try to take him back, I don't know that he has enough of a turn of foot to come over the top and catch him. So that would be the more darned if you don't scenario for me. But here comes DeBoon, definitely a live contender on form, as in my opinion, everybody in here.
Yeah, number 9, Red Cat, is dropping into the maiden claiming ranks again after stretching out and stretching around a route of ground today in the first start since a 5-wide journey against maiden special weight competition, going 5 furlongs on May 27th. Had failed to produce positive results, but I think this horse is going to be part of the pace at this level and distance.
I was going to ask you about that. How do you figure he sets up on the stretch out? And the other thing about him is he's run 2 races in this country. 2 of them have been absolutely awful. The other one was great. Which Red Cat shows up today?
I think with the stretch out from the 5, I think that sets him up really nicely in here today. I think he's going to be part of the pace. And you're right, maybe that affects the number 2. Here comes the boom. But I think Red Cat has got to go to the lead to run its best. And I went to the inside with the number 1, Jess Schnell, I think is how you pronounce it. Shown in the past that he could rate closer to the pace, will depart from the rail. He was sitting 7 lengths off the speedy, off the speed last time out. He rallied wide. He came up empty against a repeat winner called Give to UK Cats. But I think this one needs to go a little earlier to have success in here.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's another horse. Tactically, he's got such a hard decision to make because he can't lay too close or he'll get cooked up. If he does lay too far back, he won't be able to close. So that's the problem with this race.
Yeah, it's a wide open affair. I mean, I went with the 2. Here comes the boom. But as I mentioned, with some question marks.
Well, let's go to another race that's awfully tough. Race number 7, Florida-bred 2-year-olds take center stage and race 5.5 furlongs. Tough races in here. Ralph Nix, first-time starter, carries the John Brunetti Red Oak colors in race number 7. Number 2, She's Got the Look. You gave her a look, but your top selection is 8, Sweet Abdication.
Yeah, this one is stepping up to face maiden special weight state-bred competition after rallying to finish second in front of next out winners Cabinet and Music Makes Sense in her 5-furlong debut at the $20,000 level. I see it as a lateral move. What about trainer Henry Colazzo, winning races right now at a 36% rate, a limited sampling, 11 races, 4 wins, a second and a third. The barn has been going really good. Edgar Zayas in the saddle, going with the old key race angle.
No, thank you.
What?
Let's go right into your. Well, I was just. It's always. I was waiting for you to give me the toss about my book of handicapping that you always say is thicker than that binder you all around. Right. Which is, for me, a horse lost for 25. Why would I take a shorter price at a higher level?
Well, I think it's sort of a lateral. That's what I'm guessing. It's sort of a lateral moving here. I went with Yankee Perfection in second, who's stretching out to 5.5 and receiving Lasix after failing to show much. So I guess he apparently bled in a career debut. But I like the recent 3-furlong bullet and 35 flat. To me, indicates an improved performance this afternoon.
Yankee Perfection's got a lot of things in her corner here today. For one, the workout tab. She was sharp before she debuted, which is why she went off 3-1 in her first race. And she's been sharp since then. She has a bullet breeze since her last race as well. Best of 31 horses in that afternoon. She adds Lasix, and the other thing about it, the horse who won that race, Evamini, is a horse that at least I give a look to in the Stallion Stakes on Saturday. I think she was awfully impressive, so she comes out of a good race as well. Yankee Perfection, yes, I like it.
Well, she's got the look. Is the obvious choice here just because of the connections alone, and first-time starter Tyler Gaffleon, everything you want. You want a first-time starter here, a 2-year-old first-time starter. But I was just trying to beat this horse, and I also used the 7. I'm going to tell you why I used Peggy's Music Maker. This is a daughter of a promising young sire called McLean's Music. This horse, at least up until today, in South Florida, has had 19 foals, with 4 of them being first-out winners, stretching out to 5.5 furlongs after closing to finish a promising third, $50,000 career debut. Hernan Parra, Luis Castillo in the saddle. This could be the sneaky in the race.
We got touted on this horse the first time, and the horse ran very, very well. Looked like he was going to hold south. She was going to hold second, got run down in the late stages, and ended up third. So
and she's sitting up there at a really nice price.
She certainly is. Not an easy race. Race 6 is tough. Race 7 is tough. Race 8 may be easier, we hope. 8th race on turf at 5 furlongs, an allowance optional claiming event with a purse of $43,000. We have a field of 9 in this race. This is where your single comes, Ronnie. The 8, Blame Dixie.
Yeah, and I'm playing sort of against myself again. And here, Blame Dixie, previous winner on the grass, going back to the turf today after a couple of sharp outings on the dirt, in which he was second against $16,000 optional claimers, including the last one. She finished in front of a trio of next out winners. But I want to show you a stat from trainer Ralph Zadie over the last 5 years. Horses going from turf to dirt, 4 for 27, 15%, 41% in the morning, but only the $1.40 ROI. But Blame Dixie, I'm going with the key race. I like the horse, the fact that she's going back to the turf this afternoon. And I had to pick a single somewhere. And I thought, as you mentioned, the 6th was tough, the 7th was tough. Maybe the 8th race not as tough as those two.
Well, Blame Dixie needs the lead. If she gets it, she could be long gone. Her last race on turf came against a very nice racehorse in Indian Splendor.
Yeah, so, and then I also used the number 7, Sound Defense, 2 for 2 in the money, going 5 furlongs in the lawn. Going to cut back today, press the pace, faded to get beat double-digit lengths, but that was in the 7.5 furlong, $75,000 Betsy Ross last time out.
Yeah, I don't think she wants any part of 2 turns, and I don't frankly think she wants any part of stakes horses either. So much better spot for Sound Defense. The 3rd horse that you have on your ticket intrigues me, the 1, Miss World Venezuela. This is a step up in class for her, but it's also her 3rd start off the shelf.
Yeah, it's stepping up the competition after those back-to-back second place finishes as the favorite, but those were 30,000 condition claimers, as you mentioned. Bruno Tessori, MCL Jaramillo in the saddle, and that one can certainly, I think, win in this spot. I don't think it's that big of a jump where, oh my God, this horse has no shot.
I agree with that. Let's look at the 9th race on the card. 9th race is the Thursday feature, 6.5 furlongs the journey. Florida-bred allowance horses take center stage, and we have a horse that's not only stakes tested, she's stakes placed in number 6, My Dear Venezuela. She's 9-5 on the morning line, but in my opinion, you're looking at an odds-on favorite in this race.
Yeah, she's going to face these 12-5 state-bred allowance optional claimers, first race since competing against, as you mentioned, stakes caliber competition before the layoffs. I mean, she's the obvious class of the field here. I mean, she just jumps off the page as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you like the number 3, Untrue, for second, and frankly speaking, I'd like to know why.
This one is cutting back to 6.5 furlongs. Went up, tracked the pace, weakened to finish 5th in the 1 mile, $75,000 barely even. Rohan Crichton, Edgar Zayas. I think the turn back in distance is going to help number 3, Untrue.
Well, for all intents and purposes, the number 6 horse, My Dear Venezuela, is the best horse in this race, and I think that she is the solid single.
He's a wise guy. Inside joke, but he's speaking to wise. Well, number 8, Competitive Player, moved to the Peter Waldebon V to claim makes her first start. Since showing speed and finishing well meant fourth against this level of competition, that was back on June 12th. Peter Walder, he's sharp with new claims. You know all about that. He's got Apprentice Lane Luzzy in the saddle this afternoon. Competitive player, competitive for a spot on the ticket. But I agree with you. Number 6, My Dear Venezuela, by all intents and purposes, is the fastest horse in the race.
Yeah, all she has to do is clear to the top, and it could be Good Night Eileen. We'll go now to the 10th race. 10th race is on turf at 1 mile. $16,000 is the claiming level in this race. And, you know, our racing office is doing this on purpose, I think. These races have been the toughest races routinely, except maybe Sunday for the last couple of weeks. Scratch the number 5 on her earn, scratch the 10 Far From Normal, scratch the main track onlys 11 and 12. Lionel Reyes on 3, Gier Falcon. Many opportunities to pick here. You picked a horse who's using the Pete Aiello angle, the number 2, Brevard.
You took the words right out of my mouth. This one should be primed and ready to score. Returned from Pimlico to finish a late closing third against this level. Alan Hunter, Matthew Rispoli in the saddle. These horses, all kidding aside, have been running very well in their second start from shipping back from Pimlico. So it's certainly an angle you have to look at, especially in a wide open affair like this.
Well, for me, it's all about the humidity. If you come in from another venue and you come to South Florida, the heat is one thing, but the humidity is something else. So once you get reacclimated to the surroundings, you usually run a lot better. And Brevard ran huge. He closed a lot of ground last time out.
Number 8, Dioscuri, will be outfitted with blinkers this afternoon after the promising 1 mile career debut at Tampa. She set the pace. She was second. She was beaten a length. Is she the speed of the speed in here, Pete? Can she go up to the front and then just, you know, steal it?
Well, I agree with the first half of your statement. I think that Dioscuri is probably the speed of the speed in here. Do I think Dioscuri is a horse that you should use in your Rainbow Six? No, because the horse that beat him last time out, Persian Poet, wouldn't be accorded much of an opportunity in here.
Closing out with the inside horse, El Almirante is dropping to the $16,000 level, removing the blinkers after failing to mount a rally in that one race with the shades on. Looks like they're searching for some kind of results here. By putting blinkers on, taking blinkers off, dropping the horse down. So it comes with a little bit of a story.
Yeah, and then the interesting thing is story-wise there is Peter Walters usually moves horses up regardless if he wins. Figure-wise, they move up. El Amarante has not moved up. In fact, he's on the wrong side of the form cycle. I think that's why they're dropping in class.
Yeah, and you know, I originally had the 5 horse on. The 5 horse on my ticket and put this horse on the ticket. I wasn't really enamored with it, but the 3 selections. I mean, I think this horse has got to be somewhere on your super high 5 ticket. Talking about that one horse in here, and you got to respect Peter Walder just because his horse is, you know, with the drop should run well.
Well, let me give some airtime to the number 7, 1 Million. This is a horse that's making his turf debut here today. For trainer Sal Santoro, the very underrated John Delgado has the call on 1 Million. He'll be going 2 turns for the first time. He'll be running on turf for the first time. There's a lot of unknowns there. However, he's been traveling on dirt like a horse that will appreciate not getting kickback. It's one of those horses, he's taken dirt the last couple times from my vantage point. As soon as it hits him in the face, he throws his head up in disgust, like he cannot be bothered with the dirt in his face. Maybe the switch to turf will help him. I have no idea about the 2-turn trip, though.
Well, it's a good angle because, as you mentioned, these races are wide open, and it can be as simple as that. That surface switch can spark the wake-up call, and he can get the job done. And certainly, you won't get 1 million, but you can get over $300,000 if you nail the Rainbow Six.
What a beautiful segue. It's like you have done this before, Ronnie. Well, that takes us to the end of the program and a Thursday afternoon that starts just 34 minutes from now. Remember, first post time on weekdays, at least through the end of the Saratoga meeting, is 1 o'clock here in South Florida. It's never too soon to remind you to join us on Saturday for the first leg of the Florida Sire Stakes. 3 rules take center stage for the boys and a very competitive Desert Vixen for the girls.
Yeah, 5 stakes races with the post time of 12:35 on Saturday.
Well, good luck here this afternoon. And again, if you haven't done so already, get to work on tomorrow's card. You have to beat the expert.